Last Thursday evening, I walked into my own house and learned my wife was planning a stunt. Not a real breakup. A fake one. Her friends had sold her on the idea that it would be a cute test to see how much I loved her. I had come home early from work, which almost never happens. The place felt still, but I heard voices coming from the living room. Jessica had her phone on speaker. I recognized the trio right away. Brittany, Taylor, and Megan, the same three who had been feeding her bad advice for months. I stopped in the hallway, out of sight, close enough to catch every word. "Tell him you need space to think about your future together," one said. "Men do not appreciate what they have until it is under threat." "Exactly," another voice chimed in. "My cousin tried this with her boyfriend last year. He begged her to stay and bought her a car the next week." Jessica sounded unsure, but curious. "What if he just agrees? What if he does not fight for me?" "Trust me, honey," Brittany said. "No husband lets his wife walk away without a fight. He will probably cry and promise to change everything." My jaw tightened. They were treating my marriage like a lab experiment. Worse, my wife was playing along. "I do not know, girls," Jessica said. "It feels wrong to manipulate him like that." "It is not manipulation," Taylor insisted. "It is testing his commitment. You deserve to know where you stand. If he truly loves you, he will fight for you. If he does not, you will know the truth." Jessica sighed. "When do I do it?" "This weekend," Megan said. "Make it serious, but not too dramatic. Tell him you have been thinking, and you are not sure you are happy anymore." My hands balled into fists. They were urging her to shake our marriage for sport, and she was listening. "Remember," one added with a laugh, "you must stay calm and straight-faced. Do not hint that it is a test. Let him sweat for a few days. Watch how hard he works to win you back, and make sure you document it. This is going to be such good drama." I had heard all I needed. I backed away, slipped out the front door, and sat in my car, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to walk back in and call them out on the spot, but another idea took shape. If Jessica wanted to play games, then she was about to learn who she married. I am not a man who begs. I do not dance for anyone's entertainment. I drove around the block to cool down. When I came back about 20 minutes later, the house was quiet. Her friends were gone. Jessica was in the kitchen, acting normal, fixing dinner. "Hey, you are home early," she said, kissing my cheek with what I now knew was practiced sweetness. Traffic was light. I answered, watching her face. She looked jumpy, folding and unfolding a dish towel. During dinner she barely spoke, like she was rehearsing lines in her head. I kept my voice easy, made small talk, and built my own plan. That night in bed, she tossed and turned. I could almost hear the script flipping in her mind. I knew she would go through with it. Those friends never let go once they have planted a seed. Here is what Jessica and her amateur coaches did not understand about me. I do not play games with people I love. I do not tolerate people who play games with me. If she wanted to find out whether I would fight for our marriage, she was going to learn something important. I do not fight to keep people who do not want to stay. I do not chase. I do not plead. I do not perform. Saturday was coming. I would be ready. They expected tears and promises. What they would get was a man who knows his worth. Some tests do not return the answers you expect. Saturday morning arrived right on time. I was in the garage, straightening my tools, when Jessica showed up in the doorway. She looked like she had practiced in the mirror. "We need to talk," she said, in that heavy, serious tone her friends must have drilled into her. I looked up from the workbench, steady as a rock. "Sure. What is on your mind?" Jessica drew a long breath, like she was gearing up for a performance. "I have been thinking a lot about us. About our marriage. I am not sure I am happy anymore." I nodded slowly, like I was hearing it for the very first time. "Okay, what, exactly, feels off to you?" That question knocked her off balance. She must have expected panic or a fast apology. "It is the routine," she said. "I do not know if this is what I want for the rest of my life. I think I need some space to figure things out." "Space," I repeated, setting the wrench on the bench. "What kind of space are we talking about?" "Maybe we should take a break," she said. "Spend time apart, so I can think clearly about what I really want." I wiped my hands and leaned back. "How long of a break?" She blinked. I am not sure. A few weeks. Maybe a month." "A month," I said with a thoughtful nod. "That sounds reasonable. When do you want to start?" Her mouth fell open a little. This was not in the script. You are okay with this?" "You said you need space," I said with a shrug. "If that is what you need, that is what you need." I will not force you to stay in a marriage that does not make you happy. The color drained from her face. Do you not want to talk it through? Try to fix it? What is there to fix? I asked. You just told me you are unhappy and want space. I am giving you exactly that. I could see panic creep into her eyes. This was where I was supposed to beg and promise to change. So you are just giving up on us? She asked. I am respecting your decision, I said. You are an adult. If you want space, you have it. I walked past her toward the house. I will start moving my things to the guest room so you can have the main bedroom. We should also figure out how to split the bills during this break. Wait, she called after me. You are moving to the guest room right now? Well, you said you wanted space, I said. I assumed that included physical space. She followed me down the hall, her calm act gone. I did not mean immediately. I thought we could discuss details. The details are simple, I said. You want a break to decide if you want to be with me. The sooner we start, the sooner you have your answer. I opened our dresser and began moving my clothes with steady hands. She stood in the doorway, watching the plan drift far from shore. Do you not have any questions? Any feelings about this? She asked. Of course I have feelings, I said, meeting her eyes. But you just told me my feelings are not enough to make this marriage work for you. So what is the point of talking about them? That is not what I said. You said you are not sure you want to spend the rest of your life with me. I replied. That is pretty clear. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. One of the coaches, no doubt, checking the scoreboard. I am going to call the guys and see who wants dinner tonight, I said calmly. Since we are on a break, we should both start adjusting to being single again. Single, she echoed, almost a whisper. That is what a break is, right? I said. Time to experience life without each other. I could see the mental math racing behind her eyes, trying to save the situation without admitting the whole thing was fake. I think you are misunderstanding what I meant by a break, she said. Am I? I asked. Because it sounds like you want the freedom to decide if you still want to be married to me. That means we are basically separated until you decide. She sat down hard on the edge of the bed and watched me pack with growing alarm. Where are you going for dinner? Not sure yet, I said. Maybe that new steakhouse downtown. I have not been out with the guys in months. Truth was, I had no set plans. But I could picture what she was picturing, me out there acting like a newly single man, and it bothered her. You seem very calm about all this, she said, her voice cracking. I stopped and looked at her with a steady, plain concern. Would you rather I be upset? I can do that if it helps you feel better about your decision. No, that is not. I just expected more of a reaction. My reaction, I said, is to give you exactly what you asked for. Is that not what you wanted? She did not answer. She watched me move another armful of shirts. Her phone buzzed again. This time she ignored it. The test was in full swing, but the results were not what she or her friends had planned on. Instead of a husband on his knees, she was watching our marriage glide toward a clean, clinical separation. The best part was that it was her idea. By Sunday night, Jessica was in full panic. I had gone out with the guys like I said I would, stayed out until midnight, and came home acting like nothing unusual was happening. She was waiting up, which she never did when we were supposedly happy. How was your night? She asked, trying to sound casual. Great, I said. Honestly, really great. I forgot how easy it feels to be out without worrying about getting home for anyone. Her jaw tightened. What is that supposed to mean? We are on a break, I said. So I do not have to check in or manage anyone else's mood. It feels free. Her phone had been buzzing all weekend. I could picture Brittany, Taylor, and Megan demanding updates on their grand plan. On Monday morning, I was making coffee when Jessica came into the kitchen in her robe, eyes tired. I have been thinking about what I said on Saturday, she began. Oh good, I said. That is the point of a break. Maybe I was too quick, she said. Maybe we should try counseling instead. I turned, mug in hand. Counseling? You said you were not sure you wanted to spend your life with me. What would we be counseling about? I think I was just stressed, she said. Work has been a lot, and I might have put that on our marriage. Stress, I said. That tracks. Stress can make a person question big things, like whether she loves her husband. She winced. I never said I did not love you. No, but you did say you were not happy and needed to figure out what you wanted, I said. That is not something a couple patches with a few sessions. I started toward the door with my coffee. Besides, after a couple days, I am starting to think this break is exactly what we needed. What do you mean? She asked. I realized how much energy I have been pouring into trying to make someone happy who says she is not happy anyway, I said. It is nice to focus on myself for once. Her mouth fell open. So you like being on a break? I am saying I am learning what I will accept and what I will not accept in a relationship. That afternoon she called me at work, which she almost never did. Can we have dinner tonight to talk? I do not know if that is smart, I said. You asked for space to think clearly. Seeing each other might muddy the water. Please, just dinner. I sighed. All right, but only if you are sure it will not mess with your decision-making. At dinner, she tried every angle to walk it back, without admitting the whole thing was a setup. I might have been dramatic on Saturday, she said. Maybe we do not need a break. Maybe we just need date nights and little trips to reconnect. Those are things we could have done before you decided you were unhappy, I said, cutting my steak. What is different now? She was caught in her own web. If she said she had not been unhappy, she would have to explain the performance. I guess I needed to almost lose something to see how much it mattered, she said. I set my fork down. You did not almost lose anything. We are still married. We are just taking a break so you can decide if you want to stay married. Maybe I do not need the full month, she said. Are you sure? I asked. Because flipping big decisions back and forth sounds like something that deserves careful thought. Frustration crept across her face. You are being difficult on purpose. I am supporting what you asked for, I said. You said you were unhappy and needed distance. I am making sure you get it. By Wednesday, she was scrambling. Maybe the problem is not our marriage, she said. Maybe it is that we do not spend enough quality time together because of work. That could be part of it, I said. Although you did say you were not sure you wanted to spend the rest of your life with me. That sounds bigger than a calendar issue. I was overwhelmed, she said. I did not mean it literally. Oh, I said. So when you said you needed space to decide whether you wanted to be married to me, that was a metaphor. She opened and closed her mouth. No good answer would protect the lie. On Thursday night, she pushed harder. What if I said I made a mistake? What if I said I do not want to break anymore? I looked up from the book I was reading in the guest room. Then I would say you need to be very sure. What does that mean? It means you have already shown me that when life gets heavy, your first move is to question our entire marriage, I said. How do I know you will not do that again the next time you have a rough week? She stared at me, realizing I had turned her fake concerns into real ones. You are punishing me, she said. I am protecting myself, I said. That is different. On Friday morning, I overheard Jessica on the phone with her trio again. The tone had changed. This is not working, she told them. He is not fighting for me. He seems relieved. Tell him you are considering divorce, one of them said. That will get a reaction. I smiled to myself. They were about to push their game to a place where I could show them exactly who I am. That evening she sat me down with her most serious face yet. I have been thinking during this break, she said. Maybe we should make it permanent. I nodded like I was weighing a business decision. You mean a divorce? If we are both happier apart, that might make sense. Her eyes went wide. You agree? I have been thinking the same thing, I said. This week showed me a lot about what I want in a partner. Maybe we are not a good fit for the long run. She looked like I had slapped her. This was supposed to be the nuclear button that dragged me back, not the line that made me agree. You want a divorce? She whispered. I want to be with someone who is sure she wants to be with me, I said. You have made it clear that is not you. The test was blowing up in her hands, and we both knew it. On Saturday morning, 1 week after her grand performance, Jessica paced the kitchen like a caged cat. I ate breakfast and read the news on my tablet. She finally broke. Stop, she said. Stop this whole thing. I looked up. Stop what? This act, she said. This calm, accepting routine you have done all week. I am not sure what you mean, I said. You asked for a break. Then you floated divorce. I am honoring what you asked. She banged her coffee mug on the counter. No, you are not. You are supposed to fight for us. You are supposed to care that your wife is walking away. My wife is not walking away, I said. My wife is making a thoughtful decision about whether she wants to stay married. I respect that process. There is no process, she snapped. You are driving me crazy. I set the tablet down and looked at her plainly. Help me understand. Are you angry because I am not fighting, or because I am respecting the words you said out loud? Her mouth opened and closed. The trap was clear, and she saw it. I am angry because you do not seem to care that you could lose me, she said. I stood and walked around the island until we faced each other. Here is what I care about, I said. I care about being with a person who wants to be with me. I care about having a partner who does not need to threaten our marriage to feel valued. I care about not wasting my time on someone who is not sure she loves me. Her face went pale. I never said I did not love you. No, I said. But you did say you were not sure you wanted to spend your life with me. And after this week, I think I understand why I feel the way I do. What does that mean? She asked. It means I learned something important about you, I said. When life gets hard, your first instinct is not to work together or talk it through. Your first instinct is to put our marriage on the line. That is not fair, she said. It is accurate, I said. You literally told me you wanted to separate so you could decide if you wanted to be married to me. That is not communication. That is emotional manipulation. Her eyes widened. The word landed where I aimed it. I was not manipulating you, she said. Really? I asked. Because from where I am standing, you created a crisis to get attention and to test my devotion. That is the very definition of manipulation. She started to panic. You are twisting everything. Am I? I said. Let me ask you something simple. Do you actually want a divorce? No. Do you actually want to separate? No. Were you actually unhappy in our marriage? She hesitated. Things were not perfect. Were you truly considering leaving me last Saturday morning? I asked. Another pause. I was confused. I nodded. Confused about what exactly? Whether I appreciated you. So you decided to threaten our marriage to find out. I did not threaten anything, she said. I said I needed space to think about whether you wanted to spend your life with me. Most people would call that a threat, I said. She backed herself into the corner with each answer. You are making it sound worse than it was. How should it sound? I asked. Because from my seat, my wife told me she was unhappy and wanted to separate. I am protecting myself, I said. That is different. Friday morning, I overheard Jessica on the phone again. The tone was nothing like before. This is not working, she told them. He is not fighting for me. He looks relieved. Tell him you are thinking about divorce, one voice said. That will shake him. I smiled to myself. If they wanted to raise the stakes, I was ready. That evening she put on her most serious face and sat me down. I have been thinking during this break, she said. Maybe we should make it permanent. I nodded as if I were weighing a contract. You mean divorce? If we truly are happier apart, that could be the right move. Her eyes went wide. You agree? I have been thinking the same, I said. This week showed me a lot about what I want in a partner. Maybe we are not built for the long haul. She looked stunned. This was the button that was supposed to drag me back, not make me nod. You want a divorce? I want to be with someone who is sure she wants me, I said. You have shown me that is not you. By Saturday morning, 1 week from her big speech, Jessica was pacing the kitchen like a caged cat. I ate eggs and read the news on my tablet. She finally snapped. Stop, she said. Stop this whole thing. I looked up. Stop what? This calm act, she said. This accepting routine you have done all week. I am not acting, I said. You asked for a break. Then you floated divorce. I am honoring what you asked. She slammed her mug down. No, you are supposed to fight for us. You are supposed to care that your wife is leaving. My wife is not leaving, I said. My wife is making a careful decision about whether she wants this marriage. I respect that. There is no process, she shouted. You are impossible. I set the tablet aside. Help me out. Are you angry because I am not fighting, or because I am respecting your words? She opened her mouth, then shut it again. I am angry because you do not seem to care that you might lose me. I walked around the island until we were face to face. Here is what I care about, I said. I want to be with someone who wants to be with me. I want a partner who does not have to threaten our marriage to feel important. And I do not want to spend my time with someone who is not sure she loves me. Her face went pale. I never said I did not love you. No, I said. But you did say you were not sure you wanted to spend your life with me. After this week, I understand my own answer a lot better. What does that mean? She asked. It means I learned this. When things get hard, your first move is not to talk or team up. Your first move is to put our marriage on the line. That is not fair. It is true, I said. You told me you wanted to separate so you could decide if you wanted to be married to me. That is not communication. That is emotional manipulation. Her eyes widened. The word hit home. I was not manipulating you, she said. From where I sit, you created a crisis to get attention and to test me. I said. That is exactly what manipulation is. She started to panic. You are twisting this. Let us be plain, I said. Do you actually want a divorce? No. Do you actually want to separate? No. Were you actually unhappy? She hesitated. Things were not perfect. Were you truly thinking of leaving me last Saturday? Another pause. I was confused. Confused about what? I asked. Whether I appreciated you. So you tried to force a reaction by threatening our marriage. I did not threaten anything, she said. I just said I needed space to think about whether you wanted to spend your life with me. Most people would hear that as a threat, I said. She backed herself into a corner. You are making it sound worse than it was. How should it sound? I asked. Because from where I stand, my wife told me she was unhappy and wanted a separation. Her phone buzzed between us. She glanced at the screen, and her face changed. Your friend's checking on how the test is going? I asked. She went white. What? The test, I said. The fake breakup to see if I would fight. How is that working out? I do not know what you are talking about. Really? I said. I heard your call last Thursday. Every word. The coaching. The lines to say. The part about documenting it for entertainment. She staggered back like I had hit her. You heard? I heard it all, I said. So let me ask again. Were you truly unhappy, or were you running an experiment for your friends? It was not like that, she said. What was it like? They said it would help me understand how you really felt, she said. I let out a small, bitter laugh. And how do I really feel? I do not know anymore, she said. You want to know how I feel? I said. I feel like my wife chose manipulation over conversation. I feel like my wife cares more about her friends' opinions than our marriage. And I feel like I spent a week being tested by someone who promised to love and respect me. Tears rolled down her face. I was not finished. The worst part is not that you tried it, I said. It is that when it failed, you escalated it with divorce talk. You were willing to blow up our life for a game. I am sorry, she said. I know it was wrong. Do you? I asked. Because you doubled down for a week instead of telling the truth. I did not know how to fix it, she said. You could have told the truth at any time, I said. Instead, you kept digging. She broke down, sobbing, the weight finally landing. I kept my voice steady. Here is what happens now, I said. You are going to call your friends and tell them exactly how their test turned out. You are going to explain how their scheme nearly wrecked your marriage. Then you are going to decide whether you want to be married to me or married to their approval. I choose you, she said. I choose our marriage. That is easy to say now, I said. You already chose their game once. Why should I believe this time is different? She had no answer. The test was over. The consequences were not. That evening, I got the chance to take the next step. Her friends were hosting their monthly dinner. Normally, I would find a reason to skip it. Not this time. We should not go, Jessica said, nervous, as she got ready. After everything. I think we should, I said, straightening my collar. I have a few things to discuss with your friends. She went pale. What kind of things? Oh, just an update on their counseling techniques, I said. The place was buzzing when we arrived. Brittany, Taylor, and Megan were there with a handful of other couples. Perfect. Jessica tried to steer me to a quiet corner. I did not let her. Ladies, I said, walking straight up to them. Thank you for the excellent marriage counseling last week. They swapped uneasy looks. What counseling? Taylor asked, trying for innocent and missing by a mile. The call where you convinced my wife to stage a breakup to test my devotion, I said. A brilliant strategy. The chatter around us dimmed as people tuned in. I'm not sure what you mean, Brittany said. Her voice shook. I heard your coaching, I said. The part about making her threaten to leave. The instruction to document it for drama. Even the backup plan to raise it to divorce when I did not react the way you wanted. Now the whole room was listening. Jessica looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her. The best part, I added, loud enough for the back row, was when she followed your advice and I called her bluff. You should have seen the panic when I agreed to the separation. One of the husbands let out a low whistle. You told her to fake a breakup? It was not fake, Megan said weakly. We thought she should test his commitment. I laughed once. Test my commitment by lying and manipulating? That is your model for a healthy relationship? Every relationship needs testing, Brittany said, defensive now. Does yours? I asked Brittany, turning to her husband. Did your wife test your commitment by threatening to leave you for fun? He stared at her like he was seeing a stranger. Did you? The room went quiet. I saw Jessica trying to signal me to stop. I was not stopping. Here is what I know about tests, I said to everyone. When someone tests you, they are saying they do not trust you. When someone manipulates you, they are saying they do not respect you. And when someone lies to you for a week, they are telling you exactly who they are. That is not fair, Taylor said. We were trying to help her feel secure by teaching her to be dishonest and manipulative. I asked, that is your version of security? Another husband spoke up. Wait, so all of this was fake? The whole thing, I said. A made-up separation. A week-long psychological stunt dreamed up by these 3 self-appointed relationship experts. The friends started to squirm. You are making it sound worse than it was, Megan said. Worse? I asked. My wife lied to my face for 7 days. She put our marriage on the line. When I did not react the way you predicted, you encouraged her to escalate to divorce. All because you thought it would be exciting to mess with a husband's emotions. The room broke into whispers. Wives looked at the 3 with open disgust. Husbands eyed them with sharp questions. Maybe we should go, Jessica whispered. Why? I said. We are getting to the good part. Ladies, tell everyone how your test turned out. Did I beg? Did I plead? Did I fall apart? Silence. No, I said. Then I will fill in the details. When Jessica told me she wanted to separate, I helped her pack. When she said she needed space, I gave it to her. When she floated divorce, I agreed it might be best. Now every eye was on me. Turns out when you call a bluff, panic shows up, I said. Funny how that works. We were trying to make sure she knew her worth. Brittany tried again. Her worth has nothing to do with how desperately her husband reacts to a trick, I said. Her worth comes from honesty, trust, and respect. Your advice set fire to all 3. The party was done. People made fast excuses. The 3 friends stood alone, ignored. In the car, Jessica finally spoke. Did you have to humiliate them like that? They humiliated themselves, I said, starting the engine. I just made sure everyone understood who lit the match. The drive home was quiet. When we pulled into the driveway, she stared at her hands. I know you are angry, she said. Angry does not cover it, I said, turning off the car. But we need to talk about what happens next. At the kitchen table, I sat and motioned for her to sit. Your friends will not be calling, I said. After tonight, they will blame you for making them look bad, instead of taking responsibility for their poison. She nodded, eyes wet. I know. Good. That tells you everything about who they are. I leaned forward. Here's where we stand, I said. You chose their entertainment over our marriage. You lied for a week. You turned a fake problem into real threats. When I did not deliver the reaction you wanted, you doubled down instead of telling the truth. Tears rolled again, but I kept going. Now you make a new choice. The most important one you will ever make. You can rebuild this marriage on honesty and respect. That means cutting those toxic influences out of your life. No more girls' nights with them. No more late-night advice calls. No more letting them pour manipulation into your head. She sat very still, listening. Or, I said, you can keep those friendships, and you will lose this marriage. I will not be tested again. I will not be manipulated again. I will not be disrespected by you or by anyone you bring into our home. I choose you, she said quickly. I choose our marriage. You said that yesterday, I said. Choosing me is more than words. It means you show me you understand what you did and why it can never happen again, I said. How do I prove that, she asked. I had been thinking about that all week. First, I said, tomorrow you will call each of them, Brittany, Taylor, and Megan, and you will end those friendships. You will tell them their advice nearly wrecked our marriage and that you take full responsibility for going along with it. Her eyes went wide. All 3, and I will be there while you do it, so I know it is done. Okay, she whispered. Second, I said, we are going to real marriage counseling, not the amateur psychology your friends push. You need to understand why you thought manipulation was acceptable at all. She nodded fast. Yes, absolutely. Third, you rebuild trust through actions, not promises. That means full transparency. Where you go, who you talk to, what advice you receive about us. For how long? She asked. For as long as it takes for me to believe you learned from this, I said. She sat quietly, taking it in. If I do all of that, will you forgive me? Forgiveness is not a checklist, I said. It shows up when I see real change in your behavior and your attitude. I stood. But I will say this. If you truly cut those ties, it tells me you understand how serious this is. I do understand, she said. I really do. We will see, I said. Knowing it in your head is not the same as changing how you act. Over the next few days, she followed through. The calls to her friends were awkward and painful, but she made them. She found a counselor and booked our first session. She even deleted their numbers without me asking. The real test came 2 weeks later. One of them tried to slide back in with a long message about being misunderstood at the dinner party. Jessica showed me the text and asked what I thought. What do you think? I asked. I think someone who tries to save face instead of taking responsibility did not learn a thing, she said. For the first time since this started, I smiled. That is exactly right. She blocked the number on the spot. 6 months later, our marriage was stronger than it had been in years. Not because we simply survived a storm, but because we set clear lines about what we will and will not accept from each other. Jessica learned that real security comes from honest conversations, not power plays. I learned that sometimes the best way to fight for your marriage is to refuse every game that undermines it. The test ended. The lesson stayed. Some boundaries, once crossed, change everything. The work is making sure they change it for the better.